In the previous video, we have seen how to install a server on our local machine, which is XAMPP server, and we have also seen MySQL database, and we have created a new user on the database. So this is completed. In this video, we will see some basic SQL queries. First, we will create a new database in MySQL, and then we will create a new table, and then we will look at some SQL queries. So in this video, we will look at the basic SQL knowledge. So first what we will do is we will create a new database in MySQL, and then we will create a new table, and then we will work with some SQL queries. And those SQL queries are, the first query is inserting data into table, and the second one is retrieving data from the table, and the third one is updating existing data, and fourth one is deleting data. So these are all the different queries that we will see in SQL. So this is our MySQL database, and this one we have already seen it, how to install it in the previous video, and we have also added a new user, which is Selenium. So Selenium is the user that we have added, and the password is Selenium. So now let's first add a new database under MySQL. So click on this databases link here. So here you will see create a new database. So given database name here, and the name I'm giving is DB testing, database testing. So DB testing, and click on create. Okay, now you can see it on the left hand side, DB testing. So the database is created. Now we have to create a new table under this DB testing database. So we can create it like, from here where it says created table, but we will use a SQL statement for this one, for creating a table. So for this one, what we will do is we will create a new table called employees. So employees is the table we are going to create, and this table contains the columns. One is ID, and this ID is auto increment. That means it starts with 1 and then it will increment automatically whenever we insert some data into the table, and this ID column, it will automatically increment from 1 to whatever the number of rows that we add. And the second one is first name. So this is for capturing the employee first name, and then last name. This is for capturing the last name of the employee, and then age, and then company, and then salary. So these are the 6 fields that we are going to capture. Okay, now the SQL statement for creating a table starts with create table. Okay, so this is the keyword that we use for creating a table. So create table, and then we have to give the database name first. The database name is DB testing, but for this one what you have to do is we have to use back quotes here. So back quote means this is a back quote. Okay, we should not use single quotes here, because if we use single quotes it won't work. So don't use single quotes while creating a table in phpMyAdmin. So this is particularly for this one, we have to use back quotes. Okay, a back quote, and then the database name DB testing, and then and the back quote dot, we have to give the table name. The table name that we want to create is employees. So again back quote employees, employees. Okay, so now we have given the database name first in back quotes. Okay, so we have to use back quotes here, and then the table name in back quotes. Okay, Now in brackets we have to give the column name. So the first column is ID. So again in back quotes ID, and this ID will be an integer value, okay, like 1 2 3 something like this. So int, and then this should not be null, so we have to use not null, and then this is the primary key in the table. So primary key, and then this is an auto increment one, so auto underscore increment. Okay, so the first ID column will be created, and then the next one is first name. So again in back quotes first name, and since this is a text, we can use like varchar data type for this one. So varchar, and the length is 50. That means it allows a maximum characters of 50 into this field, and this should not be null, so not null. And then again the last name, so in back quotes last name, and then this is again varchar and not null, so I'm just copying this one. So varchar and not null, and then age, so again in back quotes age, and this is an integer, like age is always an integer, like 20 30 something like that, so this is an integer and this should not be null. And then company, so in back quotes company, and then this is again varchar, and this allows a maximum of 50 characters, and this should not be null, so not null. And then salary, so in back quotes salary, and then this is again an integer and not null. Okay, and close the brackets, and we have to just specify that engine equals to InnoDB. Okay, so don't worry much about this one, the last one, but this is how we have to create a table. So we have to use the keywords create table, and then first the database name, and then the table name, the table that we want to create. So it is saying that at least one of the columns is expected. Okay, this should not be a single quote here. This is a back quote. Okay, now all the errors are gone. Okay, so this is how we have to create it. So we are creating a table with 6 columns. Okay, let's run this one and see if it creates a table or not. Okay, click on go. Okay, MySQL returned an empty result set, and you can see that under DB testing database a table employees is created. So we have successfully created an employees table. So this table definition, the SQL for this table is available in the document. You can download it from my repository. I will show it like which document it is at the end of this video. So you can download the document and you can directly copy that SQL statement for creating a new table. You can just change the database name or the table name or both. So we have successfully created a table. Now let's insert some data into this one. So the data that we are going to insert is like the employee details that we are going to insert. So for inserting data into the table, we have to use the keyword insert, and then we have to mention the database name dot table name. Insert into, we have to use this into. Database name is jdbctesting dot table name is employees, and in the brackets we have to mention the column names into which we want to insert the data. So the first one is the first name, so we would like to insert the data into the first name, and then the next one is last name, and then the next one is age, so age is the next column, and then company, and then salary. So we are taking these 5 columns. We are not taking the first column ID because it is an auto increment one. That means we don't need to insert anyone. It will automatically increment from 1 onwards. Okay, so we will take it from first name, last name, age, company, salary. So once we write this one, database name dot table name and the column names, then we have to say values. That means we are inserting values into this, and the values are first name. Now we have to specify single quotes here. Okay, single quotes is James. The first name is James and the last name is Smith, and then the age is 35. Okay, so these ones, since these are like varchar, we have to put them in single quotes, and since age is an integer, we are not using any single quotes. And the company is IBM, and salary is let's say 15 lakhs. Okay, 15 lakhs. So this is how we have to write an insert query. We have to use the keyword insert and into, and then we have to write the database name dot table name, and then in brackets we have to write the column names into which we want to insert data. So the column names are first name, last name, age, company and salary. We are not using ID here, which we have created earlier in the table, because ID is an auto increment one. So, and what values we want to insert, so that one we will specify with values keyword, and in brackets we will give James Smith 35 IBM and 15 lakh. So since James Smith, that means the first name, last name and company are varchar, we have to include them, we have to put them in single quotes, and age and salary are integers we have taken, so we are not putting them in single quotes or anything. So let's run this one. Click on go. Okay, there is an error here, and the error says jdbctesting dot. Okay, so you can see this error here, jdbctesting dot employees doesn't exist because we have given this employees table name wrong. So let's say employees. Okay, so now this should be okay. Let's run this one, and you can see that one row is inserted. So let's go to employees table and see if the row is inserted. Okay, you can see that this is the row here, and the ID, it has started from 1 because it's an auto increment one. We didn't give it in our query, so it has started with 1, and the first name is James, last name is Smith, age is 35, company is IBM, and salary is 15 lakhs. Okay, so this is how we can use an insert query. So let's insert one more row into this. So let's go to SQL. So we'll say insert into, in single quotes, jdbctesting dot table name is employees, and in single brackets we will say the first one is first name and last name and age, company, salary. So these are all the columns we want to insert the data into, and values, and in this one we will say Michael, first name is Michael and last name is Smith, and age is 35, let's say 35, and company is, in single quotes, Infosys, and salary is, let's say 13 lakhs. Okay, so this is how we have to write the insert query for inserting data. Let's run this one. Go. Again there is another error here, insert into. This one you have an error in your SQL syntax. Check the manual that corresponds to your MariaDB server version for the right syntax to use near jdbctesting.employees values. Okay, so there should be something wrong here. Insert into jdbctesting.employees. Okay, so we don't need the single quotes here because we are not inserting this one, so we can directly say jdbctesting.employees. Okay, we don't need single quotes here. So when we are inserting data only for that data, if they are of type varchar, then we have to put them in single quotes. So let's click on go. Okay, now another row is inserted. Let's go to employees table, and you can see that now the ID became 2 here, and Michael Smith 35, Infosys 13 lakhs. So this is how we can insert data into database tables. Now retrieving the data from the database table. So let's go to this SQL editor, and okay, so once you go to the SQL editor, you can directly get this query here. We are getting the data, so we have to use select statement. So select star. Star means we are getting the whole data, everything, all the rows and columns from which table? From this is employees table, and we don't need this one, so from employees table. So click on go, and you can see that it is showing the 2 results here. So this is very simple. Just if we want to select like all the rows, then we have to use the keyword select, and star means all from the table name, so employees. Now if you want to specifically retrieve only a few rows of data or only a specific row of data, then we need to use where condition here, where, and I would like to retrieve the row where ID is 1. So I will say ID equals to 1. So this is how we have to write it. Click on go, and it is showing the rows where ID is matching to 1. So what we have to, and it is showing only 1 row. So what we have to do is we have to select star from employees where we have to say ID equals to 1 or 2. So now let's try it with 2 and click on go, and you can see that now it is showing where ID equals to 2, which is first name, last name. So this is how we can retrieve data from a table. Now let's see how to update data. That means, let's say I would like to change the first name where it is James to Robert. That means where ID equals to 1, I would like to change the first name from James to Robert. So let's see how to do that one. Let's go to SQL editor. So for updating any table, we have to use the keyword update. Okay, update, and then we have to give the table name. That means which table we are updating. We have to give the table name. So it is employees, and what we are updating. So we want to change the first name from James to Robert. So we have to use keyword set. Set first name. So what we are changing? The first name we are changing. First name equals to, in single quotes, say Robert. And now this update queries, you have to be very careful, because if you don't use the condition here, the whole information in the table will be updated. If you just use it, then the whole employees table, the first name will be updated to Robert, but we don't want to do that. So we have to use a where condition here, where, and the condition is where ID is 1. Okay, so this is what we have to do. If you don't use this where condition, the whole employees table will be updated with first name as Robert. So that is very dangerous, because if you are really working in any company, and if you set like, if a column, all the column values of a particular table without using this condition where condition, then all the rows, all the columns, all the rows of a particular table and a particular column will be updated with something. So you need to be very careful, and you have to use where keyword in that. Okay, now let's run this one. So I am updating the employees table, and I am setting the first name, and I am setting the first name to Robert where ID is 1. So let's run this one. So now one row is affected. You can see that it is it has updated one row. That's why it is saying one row affected. Now let's go to employees table, and now the first name is changed from James to Robert. Now let's update the second one. So SQL, so we have to use the keyword update and we have to write the table name employees, and what we are setting here, so we have to use set keyword because we are updating something, and what we are updating, we are updating the first name equals to, let's change it to James, where ID equals to, let's change the second row, so ID equals to 2. So this is how we have to write. So click on go, and you can see that one row is affected. So go to this table, and you can see that for the second row the name is changed to James. So this is how we can update the data in a table. Now let's delete the data. That means let's delete one of these rows. Okay, let's go to SQL Workbench, and here for deleting the data we have to use delete. After this, you are deleting it from a table, so we have to use from keyword and then the table name. So the table name is employees. That means we are deleting it from a table employees, and you have to give the where condition here, and where ID equals to 1. That means we are deleting the first row. Where ID equals to 1, we are deleting that particular row. Again, you have to be very careful here, and you have to use this where condition. If you don't use this where condition, the entire data in this employees table will be deleted. So if you are working in a real-time environment and in your test environment, if you run this query, delete query without this where condition, the entire table will be deleted. So you have to be very careful, and you have to always make sure that you are using this where condition. Okay, so this is how we have to write the query, which is delete from the table name and where condition and the condition here. Now run this one. So okay, localhost, do you really want to execute? So it's a double confirmation because it is a delete query, so it is asking for a double confirmation. Click on OK, and now one row is affected. That means one row is deleted. So we can see only the second row here. Similarly, we can write another delete query also for deleting this as well. Okay, so you can try that one. Okay, so these are the 4 queries we have seen. One is inserting data into the table, retrieving data from the table, updating data in the table, and deleting data in the table. In this video, we have seen some basic SQL queries like inserting data, retrieving data, updating data, and deleting data. If you want to download the document for this one, you can go to my repository at github.com/subbostech, and then go to selenium-java-tutorials, and this particular document starts with the number 26A. So this is the document, Selenium-Java database connectivity-basic SQL knowledge. You can download this document. In the next video, we will see the actual Java database connectivity. That means how to connect to a database using Java, and we will also execute the queries that we have seen just now using Java.